Setting up Home Assistant can be daunting. You need probably a Raspberry Pi, then you need maybe a VM as well. Then you need to install it, and then you need to set it up and configure it, and then you need to get your devices in it, and maybe you want a screen for it. There's got to be an easier way. This is the LinknLink Intelligent Super Gateway, which is a great name already, but this is possibly the ultimate Home Assistant starter kit. I say possibly because we're going to figure that out. But before we get into all that and how to set it up and what it does, let's take everything out of the box so we can see what we're dealing with. Sounds good? All right. So this is, there's a quick user guide, which, as it says, is a quick user guide. There's just a few pages here. All right, you might need that. Here is the Intelligent Super Gateway. I'm going to say that a lot. Itself, which is a screen, as you can see, like that. And it has a bit of a bulk on the back because obviously it's more than just a screen. So that looks like that. And then underneath here, we have, there's a remote. Okay, not sure what that will remoting, but we'll figure that out. Here is I'm pretty sure this is a ZigBee dongle. So this is a dongle for ZigBee. There's definitely a wireless signal on there, but I'm pretty sure it's for ZigBee, which is good. We need that. There is a power cord. There is a power brick. And then this is a LAN cable adapter. So it was USB to RJ45. I don't think that comes standard. I think I'm special and got that extra, but anyway, not a big deal. And then we have nothing else in the box. Here is a stand. I think, yeah, it's a magnetic stand. Oh yeah, so you can do that. See, we can do that, and we can put it on here, I believe. Is that right? Oh yeah. Right. Okay. I don't think that's right. Anyway, I'll set that up properly. Probably goes the other way. Anyway, so that's what we got. That's in the box. All right. So what is this Intelligent Super Gateway? Well, it's a screen, as you can see, and then there's a little computer strapped to the back of it. So it's sort of an all-in-one unit. Think of a Raspberry Pi with a screen integrated kind of thing. The idea with this is that it runs Home Assistant, but it also runs their own LinknLink sort of operating system as well, and they have their own devices that work with it on top of that too. Now, in terms of specs, it's okay. It's actually very useful. It's very similar to Raspberry Pi. I'm going to keep comparing it to that because that's what I use for my Home Assistant up until now. Now, it has a 4-core 1.6 gigahertz. I just got my notes here so I can remember what to tell you. 1.6 gigahertz processor. It doesn't say what type of processor, so speculations, it might be on the website, but I just didn't get that information. It has 4 gigabytes of RAM, and it has 32 gigs of storage, which should be okay. We'll get to the ports in just a second. It has Wi-Fi, but only 2.4 gigahertz, which might be okay for an IoT setup. Most of my other IoT devices are 2.4 gigahertz, to be honest. Even the new lawnmowers are 2.4. Even though Wi-Fi 7 is coming out with 6 gigahertz band and 320 megahertz channels, blah, blah, blah. These things still run on 2.4 gigahertz and 20 and 40 megahertz bandwidth, or channel width. It has a 10-inch touchscreen, which is 1280 by 800. At first thought that sounds a bit low, so we'll see how that looks once we turn it on. It has some ports here, as you maybe see, is that we have, of course, the power port. There is a micro USB, so that's for powering. That's where this, oh no, that's the power. Why is there a micro USB? Is that what it is? It is a micro USB. Huh, not sure why that would be in there. Why not USB-C? Anyway, there's your USB-A, And then there is an SD card slot, which I assume is for memory expansion. And then there's a power button on the back as well. We can turn it on once it's plugged in. So that's what you get out of the box. Now it does have 5 different ways of connecting devices to it, which is pretty neat. It has, of course, Wi-Fi, like we just discussed. It has LinknLink's own protocol. Not sure exactly how that works. It can use Broadlink, the Broadlink devices or the Broadlink protocol. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I'm just looking over here because I thought maybe I have a Broadlink device. Yeah, for a future project, I have this Broadlink Universal Remote, which is an RF emitter, among other things. Maybe that'll work with it? I'm not sure. But it also works with Tuya, so a very common platform for home automation is Tuya, so it works with that. And of course it works with ZigBee, like we saw just before. We have that little plug there. And then it also can work with Matter. So that's kind of neat. That's very, up to date. Matter over Wi-Fi. So that's the sort of specs for it. But I have 2 main questions that I would like to answer in this video. One is, can my mum set it up? Probably not, but what I mean is, how easy is this to set up? Is it really a starter, a beginner's pack for Home Assistant? Because I get that question quite a bit. How do I get started? Maybe this is it. And of course, I'm an avid user of home automation and Home Assistant. So how is this going to integrate with my existing Home Assistant setup? Do I have to transfer devices to it to use it? Can I use it as an addition? Can I use it with both, so Home Assistant and this at the same time? I'm not sure. Hopefully all of the above. But those are the 2 questions that we're going to try and answer. So with that, let's plug it in, turn it on, and see what happens. If you're interested in the LinknLink, for whatever reason, consider using the link below, because you might get a bit of discount or something, I think. Yeah. And also, if you haven't subscribed already, please do that, because that really helps out the channel. Or you could write a comment, or there's a super thanks button. You can press that down there as well. Or maybe even check out the merch. I did some designs that is now on t-shirts and mugs and socks and jackets and towels and whatever else you can think of, which is also down below. So yeah, if you want to support the channel in any way, I would very much appreciate it. All right, back to the video. All right, it's powered on with this, the cable that came with it, just a 5-volt 2-amp charger. And now it's fired up and set up. Now the setup process was pretty simple, to be honest. The easiest way was to install the LinknLink app on your phone and then just hit plus, scan the QR code on the screen, and that was pretty much it. There was one kind of funny quirk, is that I had to put in my home location, I guess. And I had to choose Australia, obviously, and then Victoria, which is the state I'm in. And then I had to choose suburb or location, town. But there was only like 60. So you had to choose one of them. You couldn't not choose one, and there wasn't other. So apparently I now am in Geelong, which is 4 hours from here. Anyway, that was kind of funny. So I set it up. With it, I had to install a firmware update, which is good. There seems to be a lot of updates to this device. It's very new, so they keep updating it. Kind of funny, and I'm not making this up. The firmware update, you have to go to the Facebook group for this product, LinknLink ISG, and then you have to wait for a post that comes on the last day of the month-ish, and there's a link there to a Google Drive folder from which you get the APK file that you can then sideload in here via a USB stick. That's the firmware upgrade process. I don't know, it doesn't feel right to me. It's a bit hacky, if I'm honest, but anyway, it's updated. Hopefully they'll fix that, so it'll be over the air soon, hopefully, because that would be a lot smoother. But we have it now. The LinknLink, that is the OS. It is just an Android tablet, by the way, underneath. When I had to put in the Wi-Fi details for connecting it, it was just an Android Wi-Fi connection. So it's just an Android tablet, but their own layer on top. And we have here now we have the dashboard here, or my home. I haven't added anything yet, obviously, but there's the temperature for Geelong, and a clock, which is also on Chinese time, which is odd. They didn't update automatically, even though it asked me where I am, but whatever. Then we have these menu here. So we have devices. So I'm assuming that's where devices is going to be when we add some. There is groups of devices, maybe groups of lights, something like that. There's brand, which I'm assuming it shows each of the brands. So if I have Samsung devices or Akara devices or whatever, they will show here, I think. Right now there's only LinknLink and there's 0 devices because we haven't done anything. And then there is, what was this one? Automations. Right, so you do automations. And then there's this settings, which is the only thing that has something right now. So here's a whole bunch of details. You can sync to HomeKit. There's a Home Assistant thing, obviously, we're going to explore that. There's spaces, I think that's just rooms, I think. You can set up rooms in the settings, that makes sense. Settings just shows your IP, your MAC address, whether your ZigBee is working, etc., something like that. Home, what does that say? Home account, so that's my account that I created on the app. I create an account to link it all up, which is standard. Where, by the way, for a startup, that was very smooth. And you accepted my 32-character random password. Thank you. There's a backup, you can take a backup of your system. Great, that's good. Restored, obviously, we can back up and restore. There's the firmware update, which is where it says insert USB. Okay. And then there's third party, what does it say? Link to Alexa and Google Home. Maybe we get to that, I'm not sure. And then there's Home Assistant service, right? So those are the things that comes out of the box. And I've connected the ZigBee USBs on the back here, and I've sort of made the stand work. I'm not sure about this stand here. Maybe I'm using it wrong. Does it go the other way? Not really. Like if you try and set it up like that, it'll just fall down. So I'm not sure if I'm doing it right or wrong, but it doesn't seem that useful. Anyway, maybe that's a future improvement. Right, let's try and add a device and see what we can connect, like how that works. And then we'll also add or install Home Assistant, however that works. And we'll take it from there. Okay, let's try and adopt a thing, as in put a device on here and see what that works like. So we're gonna go to devices, which is there, and then we can either press the plus here on the screen or we can press the plus up here, doesn't matter. And then we get, oh, here we go, a menu that says which symbol is on your device. Now I have 2 different devices we can try with. I have a temperature sensor, which is running on ZigBee, temperature and humidity sensor. And then I have some smart plugs, which are also ZigBee, but they're on the Tuya platform, I believe. Maybe not, but they're smart. So they're both ZigBee devices. They're brand new. They've not been attached or adopted by anything before. So let's see how we go. I'm going to start with the temperature and humidity sensor because they're usually the simplest ones. Well, at least in my opinion or my experience. So let's see what we got here. I haven't actually used this one before. Nope. All right, 2 AAAs. Interesting. I haven't actually seen a ZigBee device powered by AAA batteries, but sure, I don't think it matters. So, batteries in. I'm going to choose ZigBee. So under Wi-Fi, there's Tuya, LinknLink, and Broadlink. LinknLink is their own devices for their own brand that goes with the screen. Then we have ZigBee, which we'll try in a second. There's Matter devices, which I don't have any, or maybe I do, but we're not going to get to that. And then there's Home Assistant. Select the device you want to add. So that's if you have a Home Assistant instance registered, which we'll probably get to. And then there's webcam, which I think is just an IP camera. So you put in an IP address, I'm assuming. But let's go to ZigBee. And it's not going to be an Akara. This is it's off Amazon. Let's go with IoT and select product type. That's got to be, well, humidity or temperature. I'm just going to choose temperature. Okay, reset device. So that's the little black button here. We'll hold that for 5 seconds and hopefully we get some flashing red light here. Yeah, that's now flashing. Okay, next step. That doesn't seem to do anything. Right. Let's try one of the power smart plugs here. Yeah, so that goes red, little red light when I press that. Okay, so let's hold down the button. See if we can get it to reset. Or connect. Yep, it's flashing blue. Very good. Oh, ZigBee networking failed. Please replug the dongle and try again. Right up here it says ZigBee networking failed. Please plug the... Okay, so we're going to unplug the dongle. Let's see what it says. The little ZigBee state, no device found. Okay, let's plug it back in. Network normal. Okay, network normal. This is going to be a switch. Okay, that's now flashing. Stop flashing now. It's solid blue, but there's nothing happening there. Let's just try the other one again. Yeah, that's flashing. The next step. Hey! That found it. Okay, we got something. Select location, office, home. Yep, that's fine. Done. Okay. Saving it. And, hey, we now have a device. Very good. Okay, so we have our temperature thing in here. It wouldn't do this one. All right, that is not connecting. I don't know why. But having said that, that thing worked, but I did also try with a Wi-Fi power plug from Kogan, but it's a TUI platform. That didn't work either. I tried with a IKEA motion sensor. I couldn't get that to work either. And I tried with an Aqara temperature sensor, and I couldn't get that to work either with this system here. Now I spoke to the company and they said, yeah, IKEA and Aqara in particular are difficult. Apparently they have a very proprietary protocol, whatever, something for ZigBee. I don't know the details. All I know is that they work with my Conb 2 dongle, which is also a ZigBee gateway, and I've never had any problems with them. I have, I don't know, 10, 12 Aqara temperature sensors. Actually, I made a video on how to monitor those, so that's linked there. So yeah, it works with some things. It's all I can say. Yeah, the pairing just timed out. But we do have a, let me just close this one, temperature and humidity sensor that is now paired to it. So let's look at the next thing. All right, let's have a look at what I'm really interested in, and that is the Home Assistant part of the LinknLink Intelligent Super Gateway. It's a fantastic name. So yeah, we've got a device on here now with this is paired to the LinknLink system. So where's Home Assistant? So I'm going to go down here to settings and then into the Home Assistant button, which is up there. And then this will load the login screen for Home Assistant. So let me just log into that and we'll have a closer look at what actually happens. So here's the default instance that comes with the LinknLink ISG. So we can log into this and then we can use Home Assistant natively on the LinknLink ISG. So the username and password here by default is admin. And now this is loading up for the first time. We'll see what comes up. And as we'd expect, there's a stock standard version of Home Assistant. Now this, obviously Home Assistant is updated regularly, very regularly, every week almost. LinknLink has said that they will update this as well over time, and it will probably be a couple of months behind just so that they can get it into their firmware. So it will be updated as well. We have our two sensors here called humidity_1, temperature_1, and they have some values, which is great. And then we have, yeah, just a stock standard Home Assistant setup. So we can then add devices to it just like we would with any other integration. So we can go down to settings and we can see our integrations here, devices and integrations. And we can see that we have a whole bunch of stuff that's been discovered. You can see here, which is on the network. There's some Shellys, etc. on the network, which is all the stuff that I have. But yeah, we have a bedroom TV, we have another TV, we have Google Chrome. Basically anything that's been discovered on the Wi-Fi network that it's on will obviously show up ready for adoption. As you can see, we have all the standard settings here, and we can see about the version we have of Home Assistant is 2024.3.3, which is the latest at the time of recording. So we are about roughly 4 months behind, 3 months behind in terms of the versioning. And then again, if you've ever used Home Assistant, this is the same. It's very similar. You can set up your dashboards and everything else. So I'm not going to go through Home Assistant as a product. I'm going to use it on the screen here. So one more thing I just want to check out. So if I hit back here, we should get back to the menu. There we go. And I can set up another Home Assistant service here down here. So I can add a Home Assistant service. And I'm going to add my existing service that is already on the farm. The port is always 8123 unless you change it. And then a user token. Now you can create these long-lived access tokens in Home Assistant, which is what it tells you to do here. But that is how long it is. All of those characters you'd have to enter here when I press user token manually. Like all of them. I don't know how many there are, 128, something like that. There's a lot. The problem is, yes, I could type it all in, but I can't see what I'm typing because this is obstructed by the keyboard. So I have to go down here. So I have to go in, and you can't actually choose it every time. And who knows if I'm going to type it in correctly. So you know what? I'm not going to bother. That's not user-friendly. I'm sorry. So in Home Assistant, there's even an option to create a QR code, but this thing, of course, doesn't have a camera, so I can't use that either. So apparently you can add your Home Assistant thing to it, but that is a massive amount of typing. Okay, that was a bit clunky and a bit disappointing, but I just can't get my Home Assistant instance on there. I can't type 128 characters precisely within any time frame. So I might have missed something. Let me know in the comments if you got one of these and it's not how you do it, but that's the only way I could see that you would have to do it. Now, of course, we have the native Home Assistant instance, which is running on here, which seems to be doing just fine. We have the sensor that we put on here. And then in the manual that I have here, it says, for devices not natively supported by ISG, launch Home Assistant to integrate them. So we've done that, which I'm thinking we can use to launch this one. Once added in Home Assistant, navigate to the devices section within ISG to see them available for management. All right, so that's kind of neat. So if you add them in here, they should appear automatically in the other side. So I have the ZigBee PowerPoints here, that we didn't successfully add before to one of these. And I thought, well, why don't we try and do that? And then, of course, it's ZigBee, so this instance doesn't have any ZigBee, so I can go to settings and into my integrations here, and you know, there's no ZigBee as such already installed. You can see the integrations I have are MQTT, shopping list, and Sun, so it's kind of, you know, bare bones. So what if I then add an integration? There we go. So ZigBee Home Automation, or ZHA, it's pretty commonly used. So I do that, and then I have to choose the type. Right? So there's the EZSP, ZNP, Decon, Zygate, and XB. But I don't know what this device is that they sent with it. The ZigBee dongle, the USB, it doesn't say anywhere which type it is. So I don't know which to install or how to install it in order to get this in through Home Assistant. So I'm kind of lost again. Now I could just guess that it's EZSP, maybe. So I submit, but now I have to put in the serial device path, which I don't know either. What is the device path for that USB port? I can probably look it up somewhere, maybe. So at the end here, I had 2 questions at the start that I wanted to answer. So where are we at? First of all, is this a starter kit for Home Assistant? Is this an easy way to get in it? Yes and no. It's very easy because it comes with Home Assistant and, you know, admin password, and you're in and you have a Home Assistant instance. That's pretty easy, and you can get started and click all the buttons. But it's not any easier as such than buying a Raspberry Pi and copying a file onto an SD card and firing it up. because that is literally what you have to do to start with Home Assistant and logging into it. Yes, you do get the screen with it, which is nice, but I'm not sure this is a shortcut to starting Home Assistant for the first time. Maybe. I mean, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. And then, of course, does it work with my existing Home Assistant? Well, I think so. Now, there is that weird, not weird, but it's very long token that you have to copy. And yes, since I've recorded that bit, I have found, as I put on the screen, a way to do it by logging into this remotely and then copying in the token from your computer into Home Assistant, etc. So it's not that simple, but it's doable and you don't have to type it all in, okay? But it kind of leads me to a point of, yes, if I had got my Home Assistant instance in here and I could add some devices, why? I don't understand. Why don't I just have a Home Assistant instance without all the complexity of the ISG on top, just to get a dashboard? Like, I'm a bit lost. I hope someone in the comments can explain to me where the benefit is. So rather than having the ISG with a screen and their platform on top of Home Assistant, which then has to be updated manually. Actually, I think soon there'll be an over-the-air update coming, so that's nice, thank you. But still, it'll be months behind, so I won't have the latest. And then all the complexity of having to use their platform I just don't get it. Why wouldn't I just use Home Assistant? That's kind of where I'm at. So this is not the right device for me. And by the way, it locked me out. And I don't know why. And now scanning the QR code from the app doesn't work. And my username password in there doesn't work. So I can't actually log back into it. So I'm not sure what happened. I get a -1006 pop-up down there. I don't know what that means. Maybe I have to update it again. But yeah, let me know. I'm genuinely interested in if I've missed an angle where this makes sense to someone that already uses home automation or even wants to get started with Home Assistant. I think a better option, I would say, is put Home Assistant on a Raspberry Pi or something similar. That takes about 5 minutes to install, maybe 10 minutes. It is genuinely quick now, it's a super smooth process. And then get an old $50 tablet that you can use as a screen, and then you can have it anywhere and you can log into it from anywhere. You don't have to use the screen attached to the computer or to the gubbins on the back here. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Interesting device, but it's just not for me. Sorry.